Welcome to Only Ghosts in the Building. This is your host, Emily Claire.
And Karen Lynn. And we have here today
Christy Mannering from Diamond State Ghost Investigators.
So is that your most profound experience, or have you had ones that were overwhelming you, or was that just...
I feel like that was the most personal.
Yeah.
Personal experience.
And you don't think it was a negative entity?
At first I was scared.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because I was touched.
Because you
and I
think it
didn't
was
understand
in a
that.
negative way, but
I
then
don't
you
know.
thought about...
I don't know that I was worried about it being negative. I just had never been around a spirit or a ghost that was able to present physically.
Mm-hmm.
It has always been wisps or fogs or mists or sounds or shadows. Nothing ever that would have been able to leave an imprint.
Physical.
To me, it was that is strong.
Yeah.
That was strong to do that, and that scared me. And then I processed it and I realized whoever that wasn't trying to hurt me. They were trying to keep us in that hallway.
And to me, in all reality, that's just a scratch. I mean, it's a scratch from something that is not from this physical realm.
Right.
So it's big.
Right.
But in the end, it's just a scratch.
Right.
Or it's just a hair pull.
Right.
So it's like two different perspectives that we have to like deal with at the same time.
Right.
Because it's not like it's pushing you across the hall or the room. You know, it's not like holding you down anywhere, or, you know, like that to me would be really scary. But some people are like, oh, if it touches me or if it scratches, like, I'm never doing this again. You know, like,
Oh, no.
And it's an overwhelming thing. I'm like, but it was just a scratch.
Like it's just
just a
but
scratch.
still,
Well,
if you think about it, yeah, you're right. It's not just a scratch.
There's two perspectives. I'm on the perspective as like, all right, well,
Could have been worse.
maybe push me.
Right. No, I mean, it definitely could have been worse. And I have coworkers and friends who don't understand this being a hobby of mine. But every time my response is the same. The living are far more terrifying than the dead.
Absolutely.
There have been, I mean, I am a survivor of sexual assault. You know this from our chat
Yes.
before Pennhurst. I have been hurt deeply by more than one person, and that pain and the residual effects of those things
Yes.
will always be greater than a scratch at Trans-Allegheny or, you know, a scare with a bump in the night. And additionally, I think the manifested energy when you do go through trauma, I think that can hurt you more than anything else can hurt you.
Yep.
Your mind is an incredibly powerful tool,
Yep.
and it can be your own worst enemy.
You can manifest things with your energy.
Absolutely. People can make themselves sick.
Yes.
And that's no different.
And I think that's also like with attachments too.
Right.
And yes.
When you're in low vibration, they are more likely to be able to attach to you and be like, ooh, I like this energy.
Well, and that brings me back to the basement
Yeah.
at the manor. So the first time I had been down in the basement, maybe the second time, it was just me and Trey. And I tried to use, you know, a spirit box, and we got the name Anna come through. But then outside of the spirit box, to the right of where we were sitting, we were facing the camera in the corner in the basement.
Yes.
We heard a scream. It was a far away scream, but it was definitely a woman's scream. And immediately my go-to is, you're safe here now. You know, whatever happened to you that's not still happening to you, you can tell us about it. You're safe here now. Yes. You're safe with us. That is the energy I bring into the basement.
Yes.
So when I went back with Sherry and Maureen, when DSGI had our private investigation, I wanted to see the tripwire. And I couldn't see it from where I was sitting.
I don't know what the tripwire is.
Tripwire, I don't know. So it's Sherry's tool. Sherry has all the fun tools.
All right, Sherry.
But it's just, I don't know, maybe 12 14 lights. They are purple lights, and they're on a cord, like a...
Oh, okay. Like a pararope kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you just put it down, and if
Okay.
something interacts with it, like
It turns colors.
it changes colors.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can, so we put it in the parade ground at Fort Delaware where they would march, and you can see the lights changing as if something's marching by
Super
it.
cool.
Very, very cool. So I couldn't see it. I wanted to see it. I picked up my chair. I moved away from Sherry and Maureen. And I'm not afraid of it. I will sit down there by myself. I refuse. That's my energy. I refuse to let it scare me.
Yes.
So
Well, he likes that though.
so that's where we're going. So Sherry and Maureen afterwards, they were like, I don't like this. It feels like something's right in my face. I don't want to be here. I don't like this feeling. I'm really uncomfortable. And Maureen doesn't get uncomfortable. She's not like that at all.
No, she's badass.
And so after hearing them for a little while, I was like, do you need me to come back over there and sit? And they both said yes. So I picked up my chair and I walked back over to sit where they were, and they felt better. And so they kept saying, you're the badass bitch. Like I was the badass bitch that was keeping things away from them. But I vocalize that every time I'm down there. There is a woman that wants to be able to tell a story down there, and she tries to reach out, and something stops her. So every time...
Oh, it ain't stopping her anymore. He's talking about it now at this point.
Oh, I didn't...
Oh,
I
yeah.
think I made him... I don't know what happened. What happened, how I'll describe it is...
Yes.
I said, I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to see you. Get your shadows away from us. I only want to talk to her. That's how I was. I only want to hear from her. And then the lanterns were going on and the tripwire was going on, and we didn't see the shadow anymore. And that was, I do feel like you can be that. Like maybe it would have made him angry and that would have made him talk more, but it didn't seem to be that way when I was down there with them during that instance. I just wanted her there, and I just kept pushing.
What did you get her?
How was that?
We kept hearing the music afterwards. We were hearing music, and I think it was her.
What kind of music?
I don't even know how to describe it. It wasn't like old-timey music. It was kind of music box.
Okay.
But we didn't have a music
But you
box.
didn't have a music box.
Yeah.
I think I might have gotten that recorded the last time we were
Oh,
there.
that's exciting.
Yeah, but there was a music box in where my recorder was, and that's what I was aiming to get.
Right.
Was like because it was in the magic window room, and
Okay.
he put it on the other side, and then mine was in the magic window recording.
Okay.
But I heard music far off, but it wasn't any of the other toys in the kids' room.
Right, because that's obvious. Those sounds are
Right, Twinkle Twinkle.
Or that hideous bee.
Busy Bee.
Oh my gosh.
Busy Bee.
I've never disliked a child's toy as much as I dislike that Busy Bee toy.
So, but I think I might have, I don't know, but I need other people. This is not what I do. I do this. I do podcasts. So, like, I need some more, like, a backup person to, like,
DSGI is at your disposal.
Yeah.
We're always happy to listen to
Awesome.
evidence and look at evidence.
yeah, because it's interesting, you know, and our last trip up there, I think we're going to have, like, a VHX episode about it because we got
so
a
excited.
lot of stuff. Have you heard anything about it?
Weren't you?
A little bit talking it.
Was this when Ron and Lourdes was there?
No. This
This
was
is a
the
different
weekend
time?
after.
Oh, then I haven't heard about it.
Yeah, I had the dowsing rods. She told me where she died and where she was buried. Like, she was showing me around the basement.
Okay.
And each place that she hit on was also the same place when I rewatched Trey's mom and sister when they were there. And Trey was doing that sound box thing.
Oh, is that gray noise or brown noise?
Yeah.
It's not white noise. He was using something different.
Was it Paracast or Paras?
I don't know,
it's one
yeah.
of those things, but he was hitting it like it was going off on the spot. It's almost the same exact spots where I got it, but I wasn't putting it together until
Isn't it great
after.
when it validates?
Yes. So, and like, oh, you know, I was talking to Jeff about it, and I'm like, here's all this information. He's going through all of our evidence and trying to sort that out because he's putting all the episodes together.
Yeah.
So he like this. We're just like, there's so much. We got so much.
I don't know how they keep up with it all.
I know.
I've had I call it privilege. I've had the privilege of being in the control room for an extended period of time where other people are, and it's just me. And I'm like not even remembering to write down timestamps. I'm just overwhelmed by the 15 cameras on the giant screen.
Yes. And you can only hear one at a time, so you don't know what's going on around.
Oh my goodness. And watching the little things blink because there's motion. Where's the motion? I'm like clicking and it's so much.
So that's why they have like 3 people watching.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And everything that's happening with My Haunted Project and with My Haunted Manor is so incredible to me. I love that it's an ongoing live investigation with multiple perspectives. I think that's the most fun for me as an investigator is to see how other people are investigating and learning from that, because it's just
because this works and this works, this doesn't,
right?
So we can go back and do that.
Right, and and that's why I so very loved the trip that you planned for Pennhurst. Yeah, because I hadn't met any of those people before, and you may have noticed, don't handle large crowds very well.
You were very quiet.
I am very, very quiet and standoffish, and so but I am very observant, so I just kept listening and watching and seeing how other people were interacting and what they were questioning and what their tools they were using. Yes. And it's just like, I just want to learn it by osmosis and just, take it all in and just become a better investigator. But also the paranormal community is so amazing. There, every person that you had at Pennhurst was just incredible. Like I just want to know all of them more. Yes, because they're such great people.
That's why we're doing this. That's why we're doing this.
Yes, thank you, Only Ghosts in the Building.
This if we call it the 6 degrees of Emily Bacon, because I've been collecting people and people are meeting. I'm getting chills just talking about this, but people are meeting and joining their own groups. And we're going in here, and we're going here, and we're doing
sharing
this.
Information.
Yeah.
Sharing information is really important.
We have our email that we all use, and we all have our Google Drive, and we put our stuff together, and we have our chats, and I have 5 different chats with 5 different people from all the different places, and then we have our mega group, the private group, and I'm just like, this is the coolest thing that I've ever done. It's so cool.
It is cool because everybody interested in paranormal investigating automatically is open. Mm-hmm. And when you're in a room full of open-minded people, it's just liberating. Yes. You just feel free and welcome. It's a place where everybody belongs, no matter how different they are. Yep. And that is just the best feeling.
You are a piece of the puzzle.
Yes.
Everybody's got their place. And, Ron and April do something different than Colleen, and then Trey and Jeff. It's just all over and amazing.
Yeah. It really is.
You're covering all the bases.
And that's why My Haunted Project's working.
Yes.
That's why the manor is
and people
a success.
Are coming back.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly why. First of all, they feel welcomed immediately. Yeah. And then second, they get to watch themselves, but then everybody else. Yeah. And it's, again, I say Scooby Gang, but it's friends. Everybody becomes friends. And then you're just all part of the mystery. Yes. And you want to solve it.
Right.
Jinkies.
I can't stop thinking about the basement. We gotta get that uncovered.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Sorry.
I know. It's good. We had planned to cover this, and I think that's good that people that aren't familiar with My Haunted Manor or the Samuel Miller House need to start looking at the evidence and the things that are being uncovered about it, but also the history.
The history, man.
That's the basis of the whole thing, of what that house represents, who was there,
why
it's
is
there,
now.
Right.
and what you're finding there, and how that got to be the way that it is.
Right.
And being part of the Underground Railway is integral part of that whole mystique of the house, if you want to put it that way.
Absolutely.
It's like, what else? Then what else? Because it has a whole big history. It just
and then
doesn't
that
stop
brings
there.
Mr. Keebler and
Yeah.
the cookies,
Yeah,
and like then you hear the cookies and the kids dreaming about cookies and it's chocolate
Oh.
chips. Yes, like all of that. So it's kind of, I just think it's really neat.
Unless
neat.
you follow all that, it's not. I mean, it's just, unless you know all the history, it doesn't
Right.
mean anything to see. Oh yeah, Keebler had cookies
Right.
that he brought, to the slaves.
yeah.
Right.
But then, yes, there's more to it than that.
Yeah.
And
The
so
bridge
that's
and it's the
interesting.
bridge and bank people.
Yes,
We
they have
had
a whole
antebellum blacks in
Mhm.
there, and then there were race riots because of them.
Abolitionists.
No, the antebellum blacks is what they call them, but
Did
they're
they call them that?
abolitionists.
They were
Yeah.
abolitionists. So, and that's who ran that building
Yeah.
at that point. And they were also not, some of the community members were not happy about
Right.
them
And
being
that's why in that one episode with the guys from England, they heard the N-word come through the spirit box. It's because you don't think about it until you actually look
there.
behind the
history.
scenes, and then
Right.
you're like, that's why that was there.
And Gina has drilled that into all of us. The history, without the history, there's no paranormal.
Right.
You have to know the history. And Megan from Interstate
Yes.
has done such a fabulous job
has.
as the historian. I mean, I totally have a girl crush on her because
amazing.
it's just the way that she dives into things and the lengths that she takes to get all of the different information and collect it all. And you can just see how excited she
Yes.
is when she gets new information. And it's so important to know the history.
Yeah.
You're not going to understand anything that happens without it. I do think, again, the people are bringing things too.
Yes.
So there's always going to be like that outlier that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And that happens at the fort. That happens at Fort Delaware.
Can you
Yeah.
tell when there's something there that's not like the other? Like this one thing is not like the other?
One thing is not like the other.
I don't think you'd be able to tell if it was a one and done investigation. So at Fort Delaware, when we know there's something different because we have investigated there
You
so
have
many
the
times, we know what we're used to hearing, and then when there's something completely different, to me, that automatically means something came from the public.
Yeah.
Right. Do you often get that when you're doing an investigation of that you can tell somebody's bringing something with them versus
I
what's
wouldn't say
already
that
there?
I would be able to tell unless it was a place I'd investigated dozens of times.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know with myself there are certain smells like oranges could be my mum. If I were there and I'm not used to that citrus smell in that location, I might think, oh, she's here talking to me or trying to get my attention, but I wouldn't know that for anybody else unless we've talked about it.
Okay. So you wouldn't say somebody came up and said, well, this is similar to what I've had at home or
Right.
experience I've had elsewhere.
No, I mean, I maybe there is somebody who has the ability or gift to be able to do that, but I don't think I would know.
I was thinking about first time I met Morgan, and she came up to
Oh,
me
yeah.
at Samuel Miller, and she started talking about my brother, and
There was no way
Had
she would know
no-
any of that.
I had a brother that died in a car accident in 71. I mean, it was 1970. He was 21. Now, and she was telling me things about him
Wow.
that she would not have known. That was
Like she wouldn't have even known that he existed.
and she didn't even know me. I mean, the
That was
only
the
reason
first-
she knew me is because
of me.
because
Because I had been chatting with them before
right,
we went
and
to
she
the
didn't really
opening
know
night.
you that much,
Ah,
but she kind of nailed it. I'm like,
Amazing.
okay, so then does that mean that he's still there when we're going around investigating? Is he protecting me? Is he
I mean,
making
Melissa,
a one-time appearance, or
Melissa, who's a member of our team, she feels that one of her uncles is protecting her a lot, and she always teases, like, if you're getting partnered with me tonight, you're not going to experience anything because my uncle's not going to let anything happen.
Oh.
right? Yeah.
So I mean, some people
Noted.
I mean, I think Melissa has seen a lot of activity at the manor, and so I don't know where her uncle was then, but it did seem to be a child spirit at that time, so maybe he was okay with a child spirit interacting with her. But so everybody comes with their own things, you know, and if you don't know everybody, you're not going to know.
Yeah. That's interesting. Well, I'm glad that we got a hold of Buddy, Darlene's uncle.
At Penhurst?
Yeah.
So
we
you
were
wanna
just
move
going
on
over
to-
that evidence.
You want to move on to Penhurst and the experiences you all have had there?
Yeah, we can do.
So
touch on it a little bit.
we were at Paracon,
Yeah.
and we didn't really do anything as far as investigation. They had those little quick tours. We decided that wasn't really going to get us anything. And one of the things that that was another thing I was going to tell you about this group of people that are doing the investigations now together, to bring the level of energy into the investigations, and you're all on the same page.
Yes.
Because when you go to some place like the fort, or you know, the other places that we've been, sometimes you're paired with people that just have they're just, because somebody, sound like a good thing to do, or they don't really believe in
I
it,
want to
or
get spooky. Yeah.
not bringing the energy level up
Right.
to the point where you may have an experience. Because I think the more energy you have coming in,
Right.
the more likelihood is you'll have an experience.
Yeah.
Because your energy
Right.
level's
And
Absolutely.
we're open to it.
and open to it.
Like, ready, and we're here. Come talk to us.
Right.
Like, that's my core group.
Right.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
So
I kind of felt that way when we went to Bellevue too. I mean, because we were paired with people we had no clue who they were.
yeah,
And it makes a
And
difference.
we had one experience in the tunnel, but that's,
it took all night to lead up to that,
and it may
And
be,
Bellevue is very haunted also.
and we got two things.
We've had
Well,
doors
3,
open
but-
pretty much on command at Bellevue.
Wow.
In the trophy room.
yeah,
Oh,
they
yeah.
were talking about that, and
That was
then
our
we didn't
first
get
stop that
anything.
night, so the energy wasn't riled up at that point.
No.
No, ours was the tunnels. So
And that was just one
Well, it's
small experience.
it was
there.
cold back and forth that we all felt like somebody was walking through us and then walking back, and then
Because we were lined the tunnel.
Yeah.
The tunnel. We heard somebody walking over his head, and it's the tunnel. There's nothing over it.
Right.
yeah, that was
And then the
interesting.
cat ball went off.
The cat
One
ball,
of two that
and
were
then-
sitting next to each other.
and then
one went
knock.
off, and then knock.
Yeah.
But that's, for someplace that is supposed to be haunted, it wasn't. We didn't have much of an experience, and maybe it was just kind of one of those nights, or maybe it was the energy level in the group that we were in, and I don't know that other groups had experiences or not that night.
I don't know.
Well, and if there's somebody in another group that does have a gift,
Mm-hmm.
then the spirits might have been
With them.
going
Yeah.
there because they were thinking, or whatever a spirit does.
Yeah.
Oh, I can talk to this person. They're going to hear
Right.
me. They're going
Right.
to see me.
Yeah.
I do think that matters when you're having investigations with the public.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't know what they're coming in with.
They're just so unreliable. These darn spirits.
Though I do have to say, the kids' room at my haunted manor, that's the most reliable.
The other is Rockwood. We had
Yeah.
a lot of activity at Rockwood, and they don't always, but when we were there was a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
I've not investigated Rockwood.
It was
Yeah.
interesting.
We've been doing the spirit box sessions, and I love it because we get all kinds of people talking to us. This last time we had Irish people
At Rockwood or in Penhurst?
at Rockwood.
Okay.
Yeah, so we go because it's so close to us.
Rockwood Mansion is
Mansion.
on Shipley Road, so it's in case people are not understanding what Rockwood is. So you
go
can
to
tour.
the first deep dive and listen back.
They have history tours, but they also have ghost tours. And what I'd like to go is the night tour, the night ghost tour, where they walk around the property. And that's what we've been doing, is going to the property.
Okay.
And we did the mansion in the tour, and we interviewed them, and got some background information, and it was fun, and that was our first real project.
Yeah.
So that was a good way to start, because it kept us interested.
Yeah.
And moving
And that's
forward.
one of our favorite places to go. We go walking
nice.
there all the time, so
Okay.
it's great. And so the gardener's cottage is across, and we've been going over there, and we think we might have gotten fairies.
Oh,
Who knew?
that's exciting.
Yeah, it was weird.
Something on
Little.
the SLS, that very little along the edge of the woods.
I mean, if there are fairies, that's where they'd be, right?
I always said, like, they have a fairy festival, like, that's coming up. And so, like, I don't know, we got an Irish Michael, and it seemed like there was a very, like, Irish Celtic vibe going through that day. And that was our episode 33. That was our latest episode. It was really cool. And so I'm like,
And that was totally
this-
unplanned.
this brought a whole different level to this one. I'm like, all right, we're bringing candy to the fairies. What's going on here? Do I believe in it? I don't know.
And a lot of people like, okay, is there UFOs, or there, what
course
level
there
are
is.
you? Other people say no, no, it's just I don't believe in UFOs, but I believe in spirits and fairies. But
Yeah, Bigfoot.
I don't know where you draw the line.
I believe in it all.
Yeah.
There's so much in this world that's been uninvestigated and untouched.
But
and
we also put our own mind and spin on it. So we say fairies. It may not be fairies. It may be something that we have no idea what it is, but we just call it fairies because that's in our repertoire.
Right.
You know?
Right. No, that makes sense. That makes
So-
sense.
Well, like, yeah, because I think everything has, like, each thing has its own folklore. And it's, it's really similar to this folklore over here,
Right.
and this folklore over here.
All
and
the different
there's-
cultures.
It's all running through together.
That's right. Yep.
There's always a seed of truth in all the stories.
Yes.
I mean, if you think about the fairy tales, the terrifying Grimm's fairy
Yes.
tales
I
from back
know,
in the day,
they're horrible.
right? Somebody wrote that from something.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's something made them write those stories.
Well,
stories.
they went around, the Grimm brothers went around to each town and collected the stories and then, like, embellished it. But yeah.
And back in those days, I was going to say, like, now we have so many lights, and we have entertainment, we have television, and everything, all these devices that we're focused on all the time, and we don't go out, we don't live outside
Right.
like they did back in those days. So your entertainment came from telling tales.
Yes.
And passing those oral histories down through the ages, but also your imagination, because it's dark, and the flashlight,
Right.
you see
You got
something
the
and go,
fire-
what is that? Well, let's just make up a story around it. Or it may be a little bit of something somebody heard at one point,
Right.
so they're
Well, and
thinking
all
it's
the
the same
continents
thing.
used to be interconnected in different ways. I mean, over the
Yeah.
millions of years, the Earth just continues to change shape. So you have cultures that were over here, now they're over there, and there's so much intermingling that's happened.
Yeah, the migration
Yes, and
over the years.
and to have all of the similarities when people are talking about things, it's just, you didn't have cameras, you didn't have video, there was no other way except for the spoken word to capture that. But when you go into a deep dark cave and you see paintings of these
Buffalo.
things, right, that don't,
Or aliens.
exactly,
Yeah.
like it came from somewhere. You
Yeah.
can't-
Or what
you
we
just can't
consider
tuck that
aliens.
away.
We
Right.
don't know what they are because we weren't there.
They
at the
could
time.
be interdimensional things that came through, and they're like, hey, we're here.
Right.
Yeah. Or time travelers. That's one theory.
Yeah, I'm open to anything.
Yeah.
I really am. I can't.
I
Yeah.
think it's just fun to think about,
It is,
and ponder. Yes.
There's so much that we don't know.
But we don't know what we don't know.
Exactly.
So yeah, we only know
Cross
what
stitch it
are
on a
in-
pillow. We don't know what we don't know. It's true. It's so
T-shirts
true.
coming.
Yes.
But I think that's why we like this, because we are now modern day storytellers doing this, and you guys taking tours, making people understand what happened in the past, telling the stories of the entities that have come through. That's a throwback to back then, and I like that about us as a group of people.
And the fact that we don't have everything
Not
on
boring.
film or tape, or it's just, we try to debunk things, and we get little hits of things here and there, but it's mostly the personal stories.
Yes.
It's mostly the personal stories that you can't really say, I can prove it, but I can tell you what I felt or thought or saw.
Right.
Yep.
And just like we want our voices to be heard, things that are left behind still here want to be heard. That's what it's all about, is being able to tell their story. And they just need somebody who's open to listening and hearing it. And in some cases having to piece it together, because it does take an entire amount of energy to do it little by little. But again, that's why the My Haunted Project is going to be and has been so successful.
Yes.
Because that's what's piecing it together.
Yeah.
That's right.
The little bits of energy at each investigation is all coming together.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It's really funny because they started and it's like, here's little stuff, whatever, and it's just kind of about the opening of this and people starting to come.
Right.
But now there's actually, now that we've all been collectively deep diving into this stuff, things are coming out, people are experiencing this, and like there's now a storyline that's coming out, because there wasn't a storyline before.
Right.
The storyline was opening the place, and now there's a storyline about what happened, and I love that.
Me too.
I'm excited for the
cool.
next
Very
few
cool.
episodes.
And the fact that you've said things that we've heard from other people today.
That you wouldn't
When
know.
you wouldn't know that we knew that from another person would have said that, because
Yeah.
you don't know that other person.
Yes.
Right? So
It's like, because I've heard Debbie, I've heard Morgan, I've heard April say all the same things. I've heard Tony talk about it. I've heard all the same things just by doing this and talking to people. I'm like, you don't know each other. Now you do, because I'm bringing people together that have all had similar experience. Like, oh no, I did that too. I saw that. Like, yes. So I'm awesome. Just saying.
I mean, it's true.
coordinator.
It's true.
She's the paranormal coordinator.
Yeah, I think I should
Put
start
that on your resume.
a paranormal travel agency. Because that's what I do now.
Oh.
Penhurst was
kind
fun.
of
It
getting
was.
back to
Oh,
yes.
Penhurst. I have a problem with Penhurst, me personally, because of the history of the place.
It's tragic.
It's very, very upsetting to me that those things happened, and it was done, a lot of it purposely. People suffered purposely, because whatever reason, they didn't have anything else to do with them, or they thought it was an okay thing to do, is to keep people in cages and
Chained to
hurt,
beds
and it
in
just,
their own poop.
and I understand why Penhurst continues doing what they're doing, because the ultimate result is a positive one, but it still bothers me that happened,
Right.
and it happened for so many years, and that's not something I really want to expose myself to, is anybody that's suffering at that place. And I feel that same way. Trans-Allegheny, that was a lot of suffering that went on there.
It is. I hear what you're saying, and I guess the flip side of that is being able to introduce yourself into an environment where you bring love and care and you have that compassion, what you're feeling that these people went through, this tragic stuff that they went through, you can then be there as a beacon to them, as I'm here and I want to hear you, and I'm not going to hurt you, and I'm really, really upset that that happened to you. And that brings into Penhurst a different vibe and a different level
Uplifting.
of energy that I would like to think could potentially release some of the people that are still there.
Right.
Because if they are reliving the pain that they went through, or if they do feel stuck because they're confused about everything that happened, depending on their intellectual state, having people come in who only are coming in with goodness and kindness and empathy, I would like to think will help release them and help them leave Pennhurst. I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I feel the same way.
And I'm not sure that everyone has your intentions, the same intentions that you have, or what most of the people do.
I have the same intention. I wanted to come in
and I
with
think
love.
most of the group that
Yes.
have that, but not everyone does.
No.
They're in it for the thrill,
Or the people that,
or they may want to stir things up to get,
or do the rituals that don't need to be done there.
Right.
You don't need to bring stuff in, or you don't need to like manifest the negative.
Which does happen. We've seen, you can see
Yes.
that, on the walls, and it's obvious the bad stuff is continuing to happen there.
When we all sat in that big room,
In Candyland?
not Candyland, but the other place.
Oh, where physical therapy is done? Across from Candyland.
Yes. And when we were all sitting there and everybody's kind of looking at the shadows and stuff. But before that happened, Morgan was talking about, because she has gifts
Right.
or abilities, and she said somebody did a ritual here. They didn't know what they were doing, and they did a bad thing. They didn't mean to, but it went wrong. And then we went and sat there,
Right.
and she was like, this is uncomfortable. And I didn't feel that great there, but I didn't feel like it was like super bad. But like, those are the things that are happening that people are bringing to that. And I think that is a line that should not be crossed.
I agree.
You don't have to do that.
No.
Stuff is already there.
but
You don't
how
need
do
to
you
bring
stop
more.
it? Because you have it open to the public, and
Right.
anybody could go in and do whatever they want in that to
Right.
a certain extent.
Right. I think that, they have cameras, right?
They have cameras now. There was a 20-year, she told us, a 20-year period of time where it was just left open to anybody. I think maybe the worst things probably happened during that period of time, because now there's always somebody there. If they see somebody on the camera, they get them out of there.
Yeah.
But it wasn't always that way.
And that was such an isolated place. You could do really terrible things and not get caught. So,
Right.
yeah. So you're just perpetuating the evil.
The
And I say evil, not like
the
evil.
discomfort of the people that were
Or riling up the energies that like that.
Yeah, that's
And
because
that-
there was
and they-
some of that too. that
And they
went on.
feed on it. And we don't need to give them any more
No,
energy.
that makes me, speaking of, I know it raises money for them.
Yes.
But the spooky, scary Halloween-y
know.
type stuff that they do there, that's something that I don't feel good about.
I don't
don't.
either.
Because I cannot imagine being a young person there who had been in a cage strapped to a bed or whatever, and then seeing all of that scary, spooky Halloween stuff happening, and it's just so gruesome. Like the you saw them, I can't even
Aliens.
describe them.
Those were aliens, like weird aliens with like 5,000 eyes.
Well, that was just in the tunnel.
I
In the
know.
other buildings, they had stuff too, and it was just creepy.
Yeah.
And I again understand they need to maintain Pennhurst and keep it from collapsing and falling in on itself.
Yes.
That's what they're doing. But bringing in stuff that people going there to see that, they're going to be screaming and running, and how awful that must be for the spirits left behind. That's something I can't get behind.
That's
Yes.
a good point, and that's really, I agree with that, absolutely.
I wish there were another way for them to raise that kind of money.
Yeah.
Well, and that's without public donations, but
Right.
the investigations that, the ghost hunters, do you have to have both? Can you just...
Our group raised over $2,000 just for one night. So if that can be something that they can lean into.
$2,000 for maintaining those buildings is
Nothing. I know,
it's
but
just not.
I mean, that was one night. So if they could have that every night, that'd be
Right.
great without having to lean into that. So, yeah, but that's the most money.
Yeah, I know. I get
Yeah.
it. I get it.
I won't go. I don't even like any of that stuff. I'd rather go sit in a haunted empty house then
Me too.
yeah.
Let's go.
Have
Yes.
somebody with a chainsaw run out there.
No.
Oh my goodness.
Hate it. Hate it. No. But that people like that. And you know what? Maybe they're having a good time. I don't know.
I just can't get behind it. Sorry, Penhurst. I do like going to Penhurst, but that's one thing Trans-Allegheny has the same thing.
Yeah.
Do
It
they have
raises
that as
money
well?
for them too.
Mhm.
And I just,
And
Not-
that is a more violent place. Wasn't that criminally insane?
I mean, not
Prison?
really. It did have a wing for people that were criminally insane, but a lot of the
So
people
did Penhurst.
a lot of the people at Trans-Allegheny were just left there.
Yeah.
They were just men who didn't want that wife anymore. So they would bring them to an asylum and leave them. And you could only get out if the person who brought you there would get you out.
Selling you out, right.
So, I mean, there's a poster when you walk into Trans-Allegheny where they have like their gift shop. And it has a list of all of the different reasons why people were sent there. And it's like, was reading erotic novels. That was one of the reasons. One of the people, and her PMS was too bad. And this that shows the ages of like a 24. I still have bad PMS.
Huh?
I would have been locked up for sure. But there's all kinds of feverish for 2 weeks. The bulleted list of the reasons that people were sent there is mind blowing.
Yeah.
So the difference between that is those were adults that were sent versus the
There were kids.
there were
kids
children.
at Trans-Allegheny.
Primarily though at Penhurst was originally
Kids.
for children,
Right.
and a school for children,
Right.
and they tried to.
And
Do it
Penhurst
that way.
was set up in different buildings, whereas Trans-Allegheny was that
One.
W shape, which made the hallways like 5 miles long.
Yes.
But it was supposed to be that way for people to be able to socialize more. Like it was built for a very specific purpose, and a lot of the patients were free to go in and out and be outside because of the way it was shaped. So that place was built differently, but they did I'm going to say it wrong, lobotomies. Is that how you say it? They did that in both places.
Yeah.
That
And of course all the sterilization of
I
people that they felt weren't.
yeah, it's terrible. It's happening now. It's just not in one location anymore. It's in scattered places. People are still tortured. People are still treated differently when they have disabilities. People are still made to feel like outcasts when they think differently or act differently, or, someone with
Don't
autism.
fit into the normal,
Someone with
what people would consider a
Right.
normal.
But
'Cause-
I don't think anybody's quote unquote normal. I think we're all
We all have our own little.
all
right?
of our brains work a little bit
What
differently.
do you call it? Neurospicy.
Neurospicy.
Neurospicy. I love it.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think my own, just like how we're all being hyper aware of the noises. When you've gone through trauma, especially, so I have CPTSD, which is
Yes.
complex PTSD, because I endured trauma for a significant period of my life. And that, I've been to therapists where, and I believe therapy, whoever's listening, therapy is a
Amazing.
beautiful thing. All people should
You
partake
need somebody.
in therapy.
You
But
need that.
yes, I've had therapists. My current one is fantastic, but I've had therapists that have said, you're not focusing on me. And I'm like, that's because I can tell you that there were 3 geese in the pond outside your window and 4 red trucks have driven by and the Burger King smoke just started. So I know that they're I am like from wherever I'm sitting, and that's just part of it. Anybody who's been through something
just think-
becomes hyper aware.
Yes.
Just think
Absolutely.
what a gift that is that
Yes.
you can do that.
Well,
If you
there
look
are
at it
some
that
times
way.
I'd really just like to turn it off.
Well, that's why people like us, we have these great things that we can do, but we also need accommodations for when we can't do
Cope
it
with
anymore.
it. Can't
And
cope
we
with
have
it.
to relax. Like, I'm a type of person, like, I really enjoyed having being a bartender or a servers, because you're working in 4-hour shifts, and then you have the rest of the day to just decompress. And that's what I needed. I needed that little burst because that's what was good for my cycle of my body and my brain. And then I could, okay, I'm done, and I could do what I want to do.
I need boxing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boxing is, I box almost every day. In 2024, I've missed 4 days of boxing.
Wow. Good.
And I, like this morning, did 2 hours of boxing. That is, first of all, makes me feel like a badass.
Wonder you're not scared of any ghost.
I'm not scared. I'm not. But it's such a release of tension. Before I started boxing, I carried tension like in my neck, in my shoulders. I would get tension headaches. Everything hurt. I was super stiff. And then, oddly enough, throwing punches releases all of that tension. But I think I like to draw too. Sketching also helps. Yeah. So you like you said, you have to have another outlet that allows you to turn off the other parts of your brain. I do believe there are certain things you do where there's a switch or like a little door comes down and it stops like this part of your brain from talking to this part of your brain and then you're able to do those things. But if somebody's just in a room talking to me and I'm not in my sketch mode or in my boxing mode, you're not going to get 100% of my divided attention. Yeah. Because even the fact that my back's to the door has made me feel tense. I'm
sorry. I'm going to put you over here.
It's okay because I feel safe with you two ladies. Good. It's just that I need to be aware of my surroundings. I need to know where the exits are. I need to know, where's my phone. And it's not that I'm trying to not pay attention to somebody. It's just that that is what I need for my safety.
Well, just so you know, the whole time I'm just scanning back and forth, watching everything behind us.
Because you're looking for ghosts.
I am. You cannot stop. You can't stop it.
It's true.
I cannot just not look in my periphery and like see stuff and watch myself moving in the reflection. Like it's just, you cannot turn it off.
You can't.
So
it's exhausting.
It is. It's so tiring. And that's probably why I have autoimmune, because I wear myself out. But and having Jonas is really difficult too. We've now devolved into the neurospicy table.
Yeah, really.
Tune in Monday at 7.
Oh, you're talking with Jeff?
We're talking with Jeff and Morgan and Kelsey.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That'll be a good one.
Yeah. Because I didn't realize how neurospicy he is either. We'll have you on too because it's a cool conversation. I think you have a lot to bring to the table. But we're also doing like little silly topics that we bring, and we're like, and here's what we learned about, and then we make jokes and go all over the place because that's what we do in our private chat.
Laughter is the best medicine.
It really is.
Well, there's a theory out, and I don't know, that we choose the life that we lead. So before we're born, we choose that this is what our experience is going to be. Really? Because it develops us for the next step. And whether you believe that or not, I don't know. I mean, people do, people don't. But what it brings to you is saying, this is a difficult thing for you to go through what you did, but you've developed skills from it that are essential for you for the future for some reason. We just don't know what that is.
Resiliency.
Resiliency is definitely one of them, and maybe that's what you are supposed to learn at this life if you believe in that theory.
You're putting it forward for your kids. Your
I
kids
do think about that a lot.
They're better humans for it.
There have been definite down times where I have said I do believe I would not be here without my kids. I don't know that I would have had the strength to make it through the next day. Where there's, still some days where it's like, okay, I'm going to get through this next 5 minutes. I know I can get through the next 5 minutes, and that might be all I know I can do on that day.
But you do it.
But I do it, and I always think, what am I teaching my kids? What are they seeing from me? And sometimes they're seeing me cry. Sometimes they're seeing me. I mean, they see
your pain, and you don't shelter them.
I'm
from that.
very transparent with my kids,
and that's very important for
but
them.
That's good.
They know all of the things.
Yeah, but that's amazing, because we're teaching them that that's okay, and that we're not giving them bad habits of pushing it aside, or and then having it release as anger.
Or pretending, because many people go through life pretending and not living their authentic self.
Yes.
Oh my
because
goodness,
it's easier that way. Yeah.
You do have to be a champion for your authentic self. The hardest part for me is in not stopping. There are times when I just need to sit, and I won't. I'll just keep going, even if I'm not feeling well. I'll keep boxing, or I'll keep baking, or I'll keep doing whatever. I'm still planning. I'm keep doing, and that's not good. I don't want my kids to think that they need to be 100% 24/7. And I do see myself doing that. So that's something I'm still working on. But I will say that like what you had just said, everything in your life, everything has got me to the point that I am right now. And I can't say, if I go back in time, I would change this. I can't say any of that because I don't know the ripple effect of that decision. And I wouldn't want to change who I am right now. I love who I am right now. I have not always been able to say that. That's a relatively new thing.
Yay!
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. And I want my kids to love who they are. Now, being a 15-year-old boy and being an almost 12-year-old girl, that's hard. Those are hard phases.
Yes.
It doesn't get easier. It just gets different.
Exactly.
Like being a mom. But my kids are great, and they care about people.
Yes.
And they care about each other.
I love that. You did.
And they care about the ghostesses.
Yay.
All of them are open to it.
Good job.
Very good.
Good job, Mama.
Thank you.
Sometimes you have to go back and thank what happened to you in the past for making you who you are today. I'm not saying make it okay, but
I just think Braden is a silver lining to a very dark thing that happened in my life. And, not everybody can handle things the same, but I chose to have Braden, and he has made such a difference in the world. It is better with him being in it. His heart is huge,
and maybe that was your purpose in this life.
I do think, I do believe that. I mean, you never know how somebody else is looking at you either. I think that a lot too. I've seen people go through really terrible things, and I see what they're able to make out of that and who they're able to be, and the people that kind of flock to them like, a moth to a flame. The darker the times you've been through, the brighter the light you are once you get to the end of it. And I believe that's important. You become a lighthouse to people around you.
And I think we're going to end it here, because
getting ready to cry.
Perfect. No, we came out crying, and I'm about to cry on the way.
That was
not my
really
intention.
No.
I love it
because it's wonderful, and it's good to have people on this earth that do this and not, make fun of people and try and dominate everybody. And that's such a huge other side of this world right now.
Is judgmental.
Yes.
My way or the highway.
Yes.
The judgments that go on without understanding that other person or what they've been through.
Yeah.
And we want to make judgments as a terrible person, terrible driver. Why are you cutting me off? Why are you doing this? You don't know what's in their life that's causing them to do that. And that is, if you take a step back, that's the way that we live our lives, because we're taught that way.
Right.
If somebody's not doing what we think they should be doing at that particular time,
Right.
it's their fault. It's not our fault. When it's really nobody's fault. They're just doing their thing. We're doing our thing.
Yeah.
And when we don't agree with that, then the clashes come.
It's true.
Somebody gets mad and pulls out a gun, because they're just
Don't even get me started on
over the top.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of
Too much.
a lot of anger in the world, and not enough resources to learn how to cope with it.
And I think that's it. Is we find it just too easy to be angry and not understand than to step back and understand and try to put yourself in that person's place.
Exactly. It's about putting yourself in other people's situations.
And you take things too personally too.
Yeah.
I mean,
everybody's offended about everything.
Yeah. And it doesn't have, we're our own actors and directors and producers of our own lives, and we don't see that we're just this little tiny bit player in the whole big picture.
Yeah.
We want to make it all about us.
But it is all about Emily Bacon.
It is, well, other than you, because everything is all about you.
But it's funny because I'm putting people together, and then I'm still hanging out by myself. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
You've got your crew.
I do. I do.
Anyway, that is the end now.
That is
Done. We're done.
I'm gonna cut that all out and just make it your last statement. I'm just kidding.
Whatever you want to do. This is your show.
Hey, it is my show.
It is. You're in control.
I've got the power. All right, we're gonna say goodbye.
We'll see you soon.
Yay! Bye! Thank you for listening. If you have a story you'd like to tell us, please email us at onlyghostsinthebuilding@gmail.com, or you can find us on Instagram at Only Ghosts in the Building or Facebook at Only Ghosts in the Building. We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/onlyghosts-in-the-building, and you can come join for free, or we have a $1 a month tier or a $5 a month tier. Come check us out. We have a lot of good content there. I really enjoy the app and all its capabilities. You can listen, you can watch, and you can read and check out all our content right on there. We have merch for sale at onlyghostinthebuilding.com. There's some really cute stuff, including kids' clothes. Go check that out. Thank you so much. We will see you soon.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.